Hey, SPED 401. I just want to introduce you to my final project. I decided to interview my best friend, my brother, and my mother on their viewpoints on disabilities. And this relates to me because about 9 years ago, I was in a car accident. I actually was riding my bike and I got hit by a car. I broke my right elbow and my right leg and had to get stitches in my head because it was a deep cut. I know it's a lot, but during this time period, I was in a wheelchair for about 6 months. And once my arm healed, I was able to use crutches. And people's viewpoints during this time were just, oh, she can't do what she used to, and she's not the same person. But I mean, technically, I couldn't ride a bike and I couldn't play basketball, but that didn't change who I was. And if anything, this experience only made me a stronger person today. And from those experiences and things I learned in this course, definitely molds my viewpoint on disabilities. Now, you're going to see what other people think about disabilities. Thank you.
This is my best friend Akalia. This is my brother Adam. This is my mother. When you hear the word disability, what comes to mind?
A wheelchair and crutches.
Disadvantage.
Not being able to do for yourself.
So can you draw what comes to mind when you hear the word disability? Can you explain your drawing?
It's a crutch.
Why did a crutch come to mind when you heard the word disability?
Because I thought it was a broken leg.
Okay. Where do these ideas come from? Do they come from media or your personal experiences?
Personal experiences and experiences of others.
Okay. Could you explain that?
I was in a car accident before, and my best friend Maya was also hit by a car before, and she had to use crutches.
Okay, thank you.
Uh, it's a wheelchair, and I drew a wheelchair because when I think of disability, that's like the first thing that popped into my head. And the idea came from I don't know, like like when you get a disability thingamajig, like a parking space. Whenever you go somewhere, it's just a person in a wheelchair. So that's the first thing that came to my mind.
This is the picture that came to mind when you're thinking about disability. Only probably because the placards when you go to park, and it's like a wheelchair sign, and you're not supposed to park there because of people with disabilities.
Now, could you flip over the pictures and see if those pictures match your ideas of the word disability?
Yep.
How so?
Because this is when you got into the accident, and you had to use crutches.
It's not funny, but yes. Exactly. Yes.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Yep.
What do you remember about this time period when I had a temporary disability?
I remember at first when you came back to school, you were in a wheelchair because your arm was broken and your leg was broken, so you couldn't use crutches yet. And after a while, When your arm healed, then you use crutches for your leg.
I was young, and I remember a few things. I remember mommy crying a lot, but you was already down New York, so I remember her like rushing and like crying and putting her clothes on, telling me to get dressed and stuff like that. Then my next memory from all of this was seeing you in our hospital, the hospital bed, this picture. And as soon as you walked in, grandma and Aunt Nisi, your grandmother, all of them was like crying together and stuff. And I remember you being on crutches and stuff. It's not funny, but yeah.
I'm gonna keep it brief. It was heart wrenching. Um, it was a challenge, more so for her than me because I wasn't the victim. Um, it was really sad, especially to see her like this. But we overcame. God is good.
Now, before the incident, would you categorize me as someone with a disability?
No.
But during my time period where I was temporarily disabled, you would?
Yes.
And what about now?
No.
Incident, no. During the incident, yes. After the incident, no. I said no before the incident because, there was nothing wrong with you. Um, During the incident, you was disabled because, like, you was in a wheelchair, had, like, casts. I think you had crutches and stuff. And, things was, like, more difficult for you to do than you normally did before the incident. And then after the incident, you picked yourself back up.
Accident? Definitely not. During the accident, yes. Temporarily. Thank God it was just temporarily. And now, definitely not.
So, how do you view a person with a disability?
I kind of look at them as if I feel sorry for them a little bit because they can't necessarily do everything that someone without a disability cannot do. But I still view them as a normal human being like everybody else, and I try to make them feel that way.
Do you think your viewpoint differs from society's?
I do, because I think society does somewhat discriminate against people with disabilities because they think that because they have a disability, they're not going to be as good at doing something as others.
Um, I view a person with a disability, probably a person just not able to do most things like everybody else can.
I just view it person with a disability as somebody that just needs help every once in a while.
Thank you for watching the interviews I did with my family and friends. This video by no means was made to bash anyone's viewpoints at all. I just wanted to take those viewpoints and compare them to my own experiences and things I learned throughout this course. I know we talked a lot about always assuming competence, but I think along with that, we should also assume ability. Just because a person has an impairment doesn't mean that it affects them in the way that we think it does, or if it even affects them at all. So, by assuming ability, it'll remove the stigma that people with disabilities are unable or incapable of doing the things that we can do. And I view disability as just a barrier that society likes to put in front of people to make them feel as if they're incapable of doing things. So, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.